Hey, you guys, Tricia Turner here. This is Anything But Average, Achieving Success in Life. As you know, the mission of this show is to bring you success stories, strategies. I believe everybody has a story. I believe everybody has a level of success. And I believe that we should get out here as much as we can and bring positivity into this world. So today I have got Gene with me. Gene is a super cool guy. He's got quite a success story. I just met him not that long ago, and I met him at a very cool conference that we're going to talk about. So I want you guys to hear his story, hear how he got to where he is, kind of what his backstory is and what his goals are moving forward, and really pay attention because he's got great energy and we're going to really give it to you guys today. So, hi, Gene.
What's up?
First of all, we got to tell everybody where you are in the world, how long you've been doing what you're doing, what you do, and what company you're with, please.
All right, all right. So I am in Birmingham, Alabama. I have been in real estate since 2008. I owned a little franchise type company before real estate, and when the big crash happened, I jumped into real estate while everybody else was jumping out. So here I am. The accent may be a little thick, so sorry about that. But
All good.
right on. So yeah, been doing it since '08. So, and I'm with EXP Realty. I was with Keller Williams for 11 years, and then moved my business over to EXP going on 3 years ago. So
Okay. So right away, so if you guys were not in real estate in 2008, I also was. I was actually a lender during that time, and that was horrible. So 8, 9, and 10, there was a mortgage industry crash. Terrible time to be getting into real estate. Terrible time to be in lending. So with you, Gene, what in the world would inspire you to get into real estate in the beginning of a crash?
I've just always felt when I think, well, I was in the Marine Corps for 8 years, and they kind of taught us, hey, when everybody else has hit the panic button, that's when you ought to thrive. And so I've kind of always been that way, where when things got leveled up to the next challenge, then it kind of piqued my interest. I get kind of bored otherwise, but if it's next level and somebody says you can't do that, there's a solid chance I'm gonna give it a shot. And so it might have been a little ego that got me into real estate, but I had always had an interest in it, and just when the planets aligned, I decided to make the leap. So
So you went from the military to real estate, and then when you did that in '08, you went and got your real estate license. Where did you join Keller Williams right then?
I did. I went straight to
Okay.
Keller Williams, and in '08 they were kind of the up and coming company,
Yeah.
and they had a unique business model, which I'm always about somebody that's different, and I really like disruptors. I kind of my personality. I get a little bored after 3 or 4 years, but in real estate, you can pivot, change, do whatever. And there's about 8 million different directions you can go. Same with a company. When a company is disrupting an industry, it gets my attention, which is exactly what EXP did for me as well.
So here you were, walk us kind of through 2008. So, and if you, again, you guys that are just getting your licenses or new to real estate's a hard industry. And then when you're going through a mortgage crash back then in 8, 9, and 10, there were so many people. I don't care if you had like an 850 credit score and you had been at your job 20 years, you maybe weren't getting a loan. I mean, the banks were picking and choosing who was getting loans. So it was super hard to sell homes then. How did you go through those first 2 years? Because the failure rate in real estate right now is between like 87 and 91%. Most agents fail within their first 2 years. How did you get past that first two during that crash?
So I walked into the Keller Williams office on day one, and they were like, "Hey, you got to do this 4, 4, 6, or some sort of training that they I forget what it
Yep.
was, but it was a training. They're like, you're going to be in this office for 2 weeks," and I was like, "Look, I can't sit still for more than 20 minutes." So on day one, they were like, "Well, don't you need to learn something?" I was like, "No," and I walked out the front door and I drove around, and every for sale by owner Ace Hardware sign that I saw in somebody's yard, I just knocked on the door and said, "Hey, I'm new into real estate, but I'd like to sell your house." And believe it or not, I actually picked up a couple of leads that way. And one of them, it's still a blessing to this day. He was a fireman, and those cats they run together in tight circles. So I was blessed to get my first listing with them as a fit. They were a FISBO, and then he went and told all his friends, and then I just kind of took off because there was a certain level of loyalty there between, firemen, police, military, that type stuff. So it was a blessing to have somebody trust me straight out of the gate, and not only did they trust me, but I think they're still telling people about me to this day. So that's awesome, man. So
That's
that really
super
launched
cool.
it. So
So then would you say your first transaction, because this is rare, is your first transaction, was it a listing?
it was.
Crazy.
And I'm impatient. My wife has a real estate license. She got it the same time I did, and she's the foundation. Like, she's the calm, and I'm up here in the clouds.
Yep.
She doesn't let me do buyers. She just tells me, hey, you're not patient enough. You run more business off doing buyers than you do working them. So I had to be real careful with
Seriously.
what I chose to do. So
So have you always been focused on listings?
I have. At the time, I didn't know that that was a good thing, but as I was able to get pretty good at it, people kind of told me, hey, well, one listing you can usually pick up 2 or 3 clients, and there's a momentum play there versus a buyer. I think being a buyer's agent is great too. It's just not my jam, and so I just got lucky and kind of settled into what I like straight out of the gate. So.
So walk us through your first couple years. You got that first listing, got it sold. Did you just get a steady flow of listings going? What was that like?
I did. So once we caught momentum, I found a little thing called Craigslist. And at the time in '08, everybody hadn't figured out Craigslist or what you could do with it. So I started just posting on Craigslist randomly. And now I don't even think I mean, it may exist. I haven't been on there in years, but but I just started posting on Craigslist, and they had us with this lead system that Keller Williams had. And like within the first week, I started doing that. And my phone just started going ding, ding, ding. And it was ridiculous. And it was tons of opportunity. And within 24 months, it was a bunch of scams and everything else. But I happened to hit it at a time, man, where it was just right place, right time. And between the folks that were standing in the gaps for me, and then finding some unique ways to get business, that really launched me. So that was really special for me. It was cool.
So as you progressed through Keller Williams and just killing it, you formed a team, right?
I did.
Okay. Walk us through that.
So a lot of things that I hadn't done is I worked off of just natural ability, and I had leadership ability from the military and some things like that. And I was blessed, but I really didn't have a growth mindset, and I was pretty immature when I started a team, and I didn't go about it the right way. So I built a probably 12, 13 person team at Keller Williams. I didn't treat them like I should. The culture was not right. It was a day work for me type mentality. It was really bad, and so I had 9 of the 13 quit in one day. Um, Rightfully
Holy
so.
crap.
And so for about a week, it was their fault. And for about the next 6 months to a year, I went into self discovery and realized whose fault it really was, which was mine. But then I kind of went in a hole, man. I was like, all right, I got these 3 or 4 core people, which they're still with me now, by the way. But I kind of went in a hole and said, man, we're just going to team up and we're just going to do this on our own and not grow big and not do all that. And I got to a place where I wasn't fulfilled doing that because I wasn't helping people and selling, listing and selling houses. It's, there's a skill set to that, but it
Yep.
wasn't, it wasn't something that fueled my fire. And so I had the opportunity to help a couple of new agents along the way and really understood what that meant to me to change their lives based on where they had come from. And so then it was time to do it again. But when it was time to do it again, I really didn't have a platform to grow a team the way I wanted to, because the way the splits worked and everything at Keller Williams, it was really hard for me to create a business model for teammates to where I could pay them what I thought they were worth versus taking a big chunk of their money. Then when the EXP came along, they solved that problem overnight. So when I joined EXP, which was 2019,
Okay.
we went from 4 people to, I think we got right at 30 now. And
No
it's been,
way.
yeah. So it's been the company and just the people that I've been able to connect with within the company that I never thought that I would have access to, and never even understood the culture of this company. But when that happened, I was able to hitch my wagon to a star. His name is John Kitchens. He's my personal coach. And man, it just took the lid off of some of the things that I could do. And then I got to experience more and more helping people and get that joy and see people going, I didn't believe I could do this, and here I am. And just that fuels me. So that's the long version of answering your question, but that's how I started.
Okay. So I'm going to go back a little bit. When you were still at Keller Williams and you had all of those teammates leave, and one day, did you know that was coming?
Um, No, I didn't. Not really. I was too much of an egomaniac and too wrapped up in myself to really see what was truly going on. So I was not a leader. I was a boss, and I don't want to be a boss. I want to be a leader. And in my opinion, those are two totally separate things.
Big time.
And so that was kind of how that happened. But I mean, it was the
What
biggest blessing, but it's how it happened. So.
Oh, for sure. What was y'all's sales volume as a team when that happened? Do you remember?
We were in the 25 million mark.
Okay.
And then when they all left, we actually kept our same sales volume.
Yeah.
That didn't change, but it was, we just kind of stayed even for like 3 or 4 years and just kind of did the same thing over and over. But it's kind of eye opening when you wake up more and more and you go, no, I'm kind of grinding doing the same thing every
Yep.
day, and I'm not sure this is who I want to be, or where I really can truly serve and give back. So then things started changing after that.
So for me, it's funny. So I've worked at all the big box companies too. I was at Keller Williams twice. I've been at Remax, all of them. And the common theme I found with all of them was, and it's going to sound bad, but it's like scarcity mindset. It's almost like Groundhog Day, where it's the same thing every single day. You get up, you do the same activities, you do the same things every day. It's like never really was I around people that were like big thinkers and had these big visions. I didn't ever get around people that wanted to change the world and make a difference. And so for me, that was unattractive. And I really didn't know what my big vision was because I was around that kind of a mindset. So then when I went off on my own and opened my own thing, then it was like, okay, now it's like a blank canvas. Now what? What is this going to be? And then I met Jay Kinder and Michael Reese, and they were going around doing one of their workshops, and it was how to be the dominant agent in your marketplace. And that's when they were coaching and they were running an AEA. And that's when I met John Kitchens. So I went to Dallas to an AEA boot camp, and that's where I met John Kitchens. And I was like, well, crap, this guy is intense. And he's like right things, right order, just like drilling it down. And so that kind of opened my mind. And then, of course, spending time with Michael Reese and Jay Kinder, it's like you can't help but be mind blown because they're such big thinkers and they're such problem solvers. And so it inspires you. And, you know, a lot of people you get around when they reach certain levels or when they see others reach a certain level of success, they are not inspired. They're envious. I don't think like that. I'm like, if they can do it, I can do it. And look at the lives you can change when, I mean, if you take a good person and you pour into them, it usually makes them a better person. And if they have money, it usually makes them a better person that shares more and gives more. And so when you were with Keller Williams, my takeaway from what you've just said is that you too were kind of on that mindset where like, this is kind of day in, day out, monotonous. This is what we're doing. This is all we're doing. And then there was a shift. Was there a shift before you went to EXP, or did that happen after joining EXP in your mind?
It happened after. It was immediate when I joined EXP. I had people reach out to me that I didn't even realize would even talk to me. And you know, I joined EXP by watching Jay's videos on YouTube. That's kind of what led me there. And somebody else had already reached out to me.
Yep.
And so I ended up joining under them. But that's one of the main reasons. But the biggest shift was when I got into EXP, they took the lid off and showed me things that I never thought. And at Keller Williams, it felt like a scarcity model, and it was a very competitive this team versus that team type thing, and nobody shared anything or crossed over. Um, and and so it was basically kind of a us against them, which is a bit of a combative environment. And I've been in a combative environment, and that's, you know, I can operate there, but it just puts a lid on everything you could do. And what I've found with the culture at EXP is we're all shareholders, we're all stockholders, we all work together. No matter who signs up under who, it doesn't matter. Everybody is an open book. And so being able to experience that and see that, and then see people just pour into me and go, do this, do this, do this, and it's people that I would trust to tell me to do it, was just not something that I was used to in any way, form, or fashion. But I started doing those things, and I was like, holy cow, this is, you know, it was just amazing to me. I'm just not used to that culture, and everybody thinks because it's a virtual type, it's a virtual style company. And while some of us have some offices,
Yeah.
but for the most part, there's a lot of online and things like that, and so everybody was kind of reluctant with that. But what I found is it's even better to share because we're more efficient in what we do and how we do it and how we deliver and receive information. I don't have to drive 3 hours, wait for an hour to talk to somebody, or pay $100 to sit in a training that I might get 5 minutes out of. If I need something, I can call somebody directly and get exactly what I need right then and there and move on. And it can be anybody in our organization, pretty much
Yep.
all the way to the top. So you know, that's something that until you experience it, it's even hard to explain. But I can tell you, it's changed my life. So
So prior to being with EXP, did you ever have a business coach or a real estate coach or anything like that?
I did. And the real estate coach that I had was good. She was very everything that she said and everything she tried to coach me on was right on, but my environment didn't allow me to be open to receiving what she was trying to tell me. So I think her coaching was good. I just think the environment I was in didn't quantify me taking the lid off and understanding what I could do with what she was trying to tell me. So you may have one person that pours into you that's awesome, but if your environment as a whole is not clicking and you're not sharing each other's gifts, then it's still hard to grasp that and move forward.
So when you were switching over to EXP, what was y'all's sales volume then?
Right around 20 million.
Okay. And did you ever have like, this is what I want, or did you in your mind, were you like, this is what I want to do in 5 years, 10 years? Did you have all that mapped out, did you think?
No, no, I was literally like, hey, I did 20 this year. I'm going to try to do 22 million
Right,
next year.
right.
And it was just like, I mean, like you said, it was like a NASCAR race, round and round and round and
Yes,
round. And that's fun for the first 10 laps. And then you're ready to take a nap.
right.
So
And it's so funny because it's like in a shifting market like we're in right now, it's like it's unpredictable. I mean, the market can change just like the stock market in an instant, and your life can change in an instant. And for us in the real estate world, prior to being with EXP, like I told people, I wouldn't have walked away from my own company. I was happy. It's like I was the owner, I was a broker, I had it going on. I thought. I did not know. And I tell people this all the time. It's like, as a broker, when I went and got my broker's license, the goal wasn't so that I could sit back and not work and take people's money at all. The goal was that I could be in more control of the environment, like you just were talking about, the environment and what goes into that environment and what people do in that environment, and really helping them grow. Because when I got into real estate, which was a long time ago, the stats have always been the same. The failure rate's always been high. The average agent sells between 4, 6, 8 homes a year, maybe. The average agent, unfortunately, actually only makes $39,000 right now. That was the numbers that were reported for 2020. Of course, 2021 is not in yet, but it's going to be the same. It's been the same forever. They make like 40 grand a year. That's what they make. That's never been me. I'm a hustler, always have been, always will be. So I really never took those numbers internally in. I was like, how does someone live on that? You can't, until I opened my own brokerage. And then when I had to start issuing 1099s and seeing them, I'm like, oh my gosh, like they really do only sell 4 or 5 homes a year. Well, how do they do this? And that became a big shift in my mind. It was like, I got to help them do more and be more. And that's when I got involved with Jay and Mike and NAEA. And I brought all that coaching into my brokerage. And so then for me joining EXP, it was like doors just kept opening. It was like all the same kind of people that I want to be around. It was like, ta-da, you're in heaven now. There they were, all in
yeah,
one place. I tell everybody, I'm like, so they tell you when you study like data and high performers and high achievers, they tell you 5% of the world are leaders and 95% are followers. And I tell people this all the time. I'm like, I think the 5%ers are all with EXP. I believe that, right?
yes, I think they are. And I jumped early in my market, but since then there's been some big teams, and there's some really talented people in our market, and we've went from undiscoverable to undeniable, and in a very small period of time. And to the point where people go, wait a minute, why would you make that move? Why are you doing this? And like, it's from Remax, from Keller Williams,
Oh, yeah.
and they're well-known agents. And so now the momentum is crazy, but the momentum is created by the culture the company offers. And if you take the lid off somebody, you change their life and they change their business, whether they're a recruiter or not, they cannot help but talk about it. And when you're talking about it and you're coming from a level of passion, and they can see that in you, they can't help but ask about it, want to know more about it, and so forth. So for us, we've seen it where I think when I joined, there was like 100 people, 100 EXP agents in our
Yeah,
market, and now I don't know the exact number, but I know it's at least quadruple that. It's considerable shit.
really.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So
So with your guys, you've grown. How many do you have now with you? 30?
30, yes.
Okay. Are y'all an organized team under one team name? Does everyone work under that?
We do. Our goal last year was the name of our team is called the Southern Realty Specialists, and our goal last year was to make mega team. So John Kitchens and I talked about that in January and said, let's roll. And we did.
Yay! Congratulations.
Yeah. So yeah, we're all under one roof. One big culture, one big family, and we protect that culture to all ends with as far as who we let in. We're not big on let's go try to recruit everybody to
Nope.
EXP. If you're not a fit for our culture, which is we grow with each other, we try to be better, we support each other, we stand in the gaps. We're a tight group, and we don't just let anybody in.
Mm-mm.
And that's another thing that I didn't have an issue with where I was. I thought it was a great company. I wasn't even looking to change. What I did have an issue with was quality. Quality meaning you have an office of 300 people. Of those 300 people, probably 30 of them sell something every year, and the rest of them just tax the staff with questions and things like
Yep.
that to make themselves feel better about coming to the office that one day a week.
Yep.
Well, the people that are performers are in there, and they're just getting their time eaten alive by folks that aren't really serious.
Mhm.
And so I said, if I ever decide to make a move, I'm going to change that, and we did, and it's been super impactful. So
Well, and you think about it too, like for me, when I was just in my own independent company as a broker and owner, I couldn't give the agents the kind of training that we offer them now. I couldn't give them stock. I don't have any stock in my company. Are you kidding me? I couldn't give them any kind of a retirement. I don't have that. And when you look at like if you're really genuinely doing this for the good of the agent because you want them to live in abundance, you want them to produce more, you want them to be protected by the disruptors that are coming into our industry, then you as a broker, it's your duty and your obligation, I feel, to have them align with the best. And when I look at some of the, like here in Houston, the market I'm in, we have a lot of discount brokers, a lot of them. And I follow them on Facebook and I'm paying attention to the agents and their posting and the things that they do. And they're always trying to attract other agents to that brokerage because of the model. And it's like, but why would you try to attract them to that? And these agents that are trying to attract them to that, they're doing it because their broker, the incentive is you'll get, 3 months of no desk dues. It's like, seriously? Like, why are you, that's such small minded thinking. Like, we don't think that at all. Like when we are talking to somebody about being part of our organization and being part of EXP, it's like we believe wholeheartedly that this company is by far the best real estate company in the world. We believe that we're better together. We believe that we are going to take over the world and we're just trying to help you get there with us. It's like a whole different mindset. Are you seeing that same kind of thing where you are?
absolutely, it's the belief in it. You've taken somebody from, even on our team, we've had people that join our team that were making that $35,000 a year,
Yep.
and they've tripled their income, and it's because of, and you mentioned not having the benefits, not having the training, not having to do all that. Well, with a 30-person team, I can't coach and manage every one of them on an individual basis all day every day. There's just not enough hours in the day. But I'm actually with a company that everybody pours into everybody, so they've got so many avenues to get information. And what we teach is we build people's gifts, and everybody's gift set is different that comes onto our team. And there are some gift sets that I can't coach or teach,
No.
but there's always somewhere we can find that they can align with somebody that will plug into them and pour into them where they are, whether it be inside of the team or outside of the team, with all the resources that we have, and that's launched their career. So I've seen it time and time again, where I love those $35,000 a year agents, because all you got to do is answer one question in my interview: do you want to get better? And if they say yes, let's go. And I'm surrounded by, I don't know, what is it, 70,000 agents right
Yeah.
now?
Maybe
that
75.
yeah, they feel the same way. And so when they start realizing where they can plug in to exacerbate those gifts and take them to the next level, it's huge. And you just don't find that anywhere else. A lot of what I experienced everywhere else was, like I said, it was just, we'll give you training, but you're going to pay for it. And it's there. Here's the thing: there's coaching and there's training, and they are not the same.
No.
And I think that most of these big box brokers try to make them the same, but they never adjust individual needs and individual gifts and individual places in where agents' business is. And
Yep.
so if you've got a company to where you can hit it on all levels all the time, that makes all the difference in the world. And we don't lack in that, and we don't charge a dime for training. If you want to get on and talk live in your virtual body with Grant Cardone or Jay Kinder or whoever, most likely during the week, every week, you can do that. and and you don't, I mean, I challenge anybody to go find that somewhere else. It's just really hard. So
It's crazy. And, like for me, I'm a big believer in going to events. I'm a big believer in doing events. And it's like I was telling you before we even got on today, I didn't know you and before we went to the Spirit Rocket event. And I didn't even know about, like, I never really had the mindset of I need to hire VAs. And you think about it, it's like, think of the life we're providing these VAs. And so for you guys that don't know what a VA is, it's a virtual assistant. And Spirit Rocket is a company that Gene and I use, and they train our VAs. We hire them from them. They have a whole vetting process, and these are people that live in the Philippines in not so the best housing. They sometimes don't have running water. It's like we are helping them live a better life and provide for their families. And I wouldn't even be part of this if it wasn't for EXP. It's the coolest thing in all the doors it's opened. How about you?
same. Well, it's funny you said the VA. You said the VA thing. So I have an inside sales rep that's a VA. His name's Amos, and Amos is awesome. But I
Yeah.
talked to Amos every day on Slack and video, and I kept noticing that he was wearing this big jacket. And when he was talking to me and breathing, it was literally like smoke. And I was like, "Are you in your house?" And he was like, "Yeah." I said, "Are you cold?" He's like, "Yeah, we don't have heat here." And I think being and just to be able to impact somebody's life, well, the first thing we did was get him a heater. And the next time he gets home with me, he's wearing a tank top and a big grin.
Nah.
But the young man is amazing. He's one of the best callers I've ever seen. And my daughter said something to me the other day. She goes, "Dad, you have people that work with you in the Philippines?" I said, "Yes." And I said, "They're on my team. They're part of our family."
Oh yeah.
But we're able to bless people all over the world. And so not only is EXP expanding its operation all over the country and countries, countries, continents, you name it, we're pretty much everywhere now. If you look at everybody's social media feed, you're going to
Yep.
see a we've expanded and it's going to be a Belgium or a
Oh
Denmark
yeah.
or wherever it is. So you can see that, but you also are connected with people that bring you into hiring people that are outside our borders and inside our borders, and you have an absolute huge opportunity to make a difference. And Amos literally told me, "I now live in a 1 bedroom, 1 bath apartment." And I was like, "Well, man, we need to get you a bigger one." He goes, "No, no, 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 no. After my second paycheck with you guys, this is my bigger one. My first one was an 8 by 10 room with a
Oh,
shared bathroom and a hall." And so for me, you get to see things like that. And for me, that's where it's at. I mean, that's real. That's tangible. It's, me and you can go make a paycheck whenever we want to. God gifted
yep.
us with that. But I think our calling is to use our gifts and talents, spread them, share them, teach them. And then the blessing for us is not the paycheck, it's getting to witness those lives being changed. And when you get to do that a few times, inside or outside your borders, there's nothing else that you're going to want to do. And the money and the success and all that, it's great, and it'll follow you if that's what you want to do, is bless as many people as you can. But it's just amazing to me how this company's provided that opportunity time and time and time and time again. And so I don't wake up going, another day, another door knock, another listing. I wake up going, who are we going to bless today? What are we going to do today? And who's going to call me with some ridiculous opportunity like Tricia Turner to get up on her podcast? That's how we roll.
I
So
love it. And you know what? Another cool thing is like the Spirit Rocket conference that we were just at. Justin Nelson. So if you guys don't know anything about Spirit Rocket, we can hook you up with that. Justin Nelson is one of the owners. He's young as all get out. He's successful like crazy, making a crap ton of money. He is the most kindest, genuine, sincerest, transparent, giving person ever. Like he was on the stage crying. I mean, he loves his people, and like Jean just said, I mean, the lives that he's changing and that we're all changing because of him and this idea of his that he just made happen. It's like if you don't see him up on a stage and then are envious, you want to do more. It's like we got to do more. We got to go help. Like you just said about Amos, it's like I need to check in with mine and make sure they have heaters. I got to make sure they're okay over there because it's crazy. Paul and I even said we're like we should take a trip there and surprise them and spend time with them. We should all do that.
And it's funny you said it, because before I would never think about. I mean, I'm kind of a homebody, just a Alabama boy, so it's not outside of the Marine Corps taking me places I didn't choose to go. I've never really expanded my borders. The last 2 years at EXP, like before, I would not go to events. I'd be like, I'm not wasting my time. All they're going to do is tell me something I already know. Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
I bet I've been to 10 events in two
Oh yeah.
years, and I've been out of the country a couple times and just stuff that I would have never done. And I'm like, now I'm living. Like Matthew McConaughey's like LIVIN, living, man. That's what I'm
Yes.
doing right now. But I wasn't doing that before. All I was thinking about was like I said, the next listing, and that's a place in your career, and you got to have that, depending on where you are. But
Absolutely.
but that's it's big for me. So.
And I think in the beginning, like for me, when I first switched over to EXP, there was a lot of haters and a lot of drama, rumors here in Houston about it because we had a lot of competition. And they were all like, "Oh, they're just a bunch of recruiters. They don't care about production." It's like we care about production. Like we hit high numbers. Like my group, we did 75 million last year. Our goal is 135 million this year, and we'll hit it. We're going to hit more than that. And it's like when you talk numbers like that, that isn't an easy task. That's like grinding every day. It's knowing what you're doing, right? Like John says, right things, right order. But it's like I believe, and I just told them in a sales meeting. We do our sales meetings and every week, and we're together here in the office. We have a brick and mortar, and it's like I believe that we are going to make a difference in this world this year. This is the things that we're doing. It's like you lay that stuff out there and you put a vision, you cast your vision, and then people come together and you make it happen. And I think EXP, because we're surrounded by such people that are doing high numbers, bigger numbers than us. You know, the people that we hang out with. It's like we are not the smartest people in the room ever. I don't want to be the smartest person in the room. You know, I learn
Right.
from them, and then I leave there and I'm like, if they can do it, we can do it. This is how we do it. You know,
Yeah,
always.
absolutely. And that's the thing is like 100 million used to be like that would be like what? And now, we're chasing that number this year.
Yes.
And I would have never dreamt any of that would happen. And now it's like, okay, what's the next level, the next level, the next level? Because now it's become a life by strategy,
Yes.
not a life by necessity. And that's just attributed to everybody that hung around. And we go to these events, and it amazes me. We had a huge opportunity come across. Jackie and Ryan Bowman are some people that I just dearly love, and they pour into me, and they don't have to. And it just happened because we connected at events, and a huge opportunity came across their desk, and it wasn't in their market at the time, but it was in ours. And they sent that opportunity to me, which I'm working right now, and we're about to have our best January, February, and our best first quarter ever. And it's simply because I met them at an event. We
Yep.
connected. They trust me, and they said, for this opportunity, this is the guy you need to call. But I've run into things like that over and over and over again, and I didn't experience that the first 10 years in real estate. I just did. Whether it was not my lack of getting out, or just that the culture wasn't the same, whatever it was, I didn't experience what I'm experiencing now.
Isn't it amazing? Like Jay Kinder says, he believes that the next 10 years in real estate are going to be the best 10 years in real estate. And I am so thankful that we're all together because, like Jay says, one big fire, it's like you see it. Like the energy is insane. It's infectious. Like we want to just take over, not because we want to take over, but because we want to make a difference and make a mark in this world. And you're the same way. We all are the same. Talk to me a little
Absolutely.
bit about your team because 30 people, like you said, that's like, herding cats. I mean, that's hard. Are you guys all right there in your local market?
We are. Well, I say that we've got a couple of our team started to expand, and so we just put an agent on the coast, and then we put an agent in Montgomery, which is the state's capital, and we're farther north than both of those. So we've expanded, and we weren't even looking to expand, but our culture is attracting people that want to join,
Yep.
and so we weren't doing anything. We're just helping each other, standing in the gaps for each other. And then all of a sudden, people come to us and go, "Wait a minute! I see what you guys are doing on social media. I see what you guys are doing everywhere, and you've been doing this for like 6 months. So it's not like you're like let's campaign and show everybody. It's just who you are."
Yeah.
And I think it's so refreshing because everybody's putting out all the fake this, fake that, fake everything, whether it's on social media or wherever. But when you're real with each other and you stand in the gaps for each other and you take care of each other, you can't fake that. And so everybody calls us recruiters. I'm like, I can't really tell you the last time I picked up the phone and said, "Hey, you need to come join EXP." But I can tell you the last 10 Instagram messages I got that said, "Hey, I'd like to talk to you about what you guys are doing because that really attracts me. I've been watching you guys for a while."
Yep.
And that's not something that we don't try to produce that. It just happens because of the culture, because of the company, because of who we are.
Yep.
And I don't think people really get that. And
And they
so,
don't until they become part of it.
yep.
And then
It's
it's like, you
yeah,
know,
yeah.
I tell people like, so here in Houston, I go to Lakewood Church. And so Joel Osteen always says, and I've been there for 11 years. And so Joel Osteen always says, give us a year, we'll change your life. When he's inviting people to join, I tell people that with EXP, I'm like, just stay with us for a year. If you're not happy, go back to where you came from. I can promise you your life will be forever changed if you just try. But shoot, in 6 months, you're going to see a difference. Never mind a year. It's forever changing, life changing.
Absolutely. And it was day one. I mean, it was for us, it was day one. It was like we woke up with four people. I'm like, hey, there's so much that we can do for people that we just we didn't chase after it. Because
Yeah.
it was just I couldn't sleep at night. The way some teams are structured, I wouldn't be able to sleep at night with how much money they take without the company providing the platform for you to give the value back to be at
Yeah.
peace with it. And so once the company provided the value piece of it that I could give back, the rest of it was easy because I believed in it. And it's the difference with anything that you're talking about or you're partnering with or selling or whatever you want to call it. If you don't believe in it, people know. If you
Oh,
do
God.
believe in it, people know. And
Absolutely.
that's the difference. So
So, with a team structure of your size, I know people watching this that are running teams or thinking about starting a team. What does that look like with a team leader? Like, how does your organization look as far as like your chart goes, your flow chart?
Yeah. So we've got team leader. Then I have three coaches that are our top three agents also coach for us.
Okay.
And we provide them some incentives and some easier ways to do business. What? Because they help me with that.
Yep.
We have an office manager, and then our office manager manages a couple of VAs. And then we have an inside sales rep, and then the rest of our crew is agents.
Okay.
So we've got amazing support, amazing contract to close, amazing coaches, and we all collab and we all have access to each other whenever we want it. But we just make sure it's an environment to where they can come in and get what they need, and also leverage their business to a way where they can stay focused on their give zone versus focused on the $5 an hour type things. And when you give somebody that freedom to create and think, you see some changes pretty quick.
So your agents, are they doing listings and buyers, or do you have them separated? Do you have listing specialists?
So what I do is when they come in the first on day one, I go through a questionnaire and I figure out what they love, what they enjoy, what their gifts are, and then we build a business plan around that. So when you join our team, you're put in a place that you asked to be put in based on your gifts and your strengths, and then we take the people that we have that align with that with inside the team, and we help them to start developing that. And what I found is, while you do need to know a lot of things about real estate, you want to keep a large percentage of your focus on what you're really really good at, and then you get a momentum play and things just really start happening for you. And I try to get everybody to get out of that mindset of, oh, I can't spend $100 a month. I'm like, no, no, no. Let's talk about an investment, and let's talk about a return on investment. If you spend 100 and it makes you 1,000, it is not an expense. If you
No.
spend 100 and it makes you nothing, it's an expense, and you need to look at that and see if it belongs on the chopping block. But just the little things foundationally and the mindset, and then taking that and taking their gifts and applying everything to it and growing it is how we do. So it's not necessarily um, this is what we're hiring for as much as we're trying to bring you in and exacerbate your gifts and run you up the ladder.
So is it hard to run 30? Is it hard to oversee that whole organization?
It's a lot. I'm a bit so.
Yeah.
I think you're probably a high D, a driver type,
Yep.
and I am too. And so it's really easy to get my focus off things. And when I get locked in on something that I think is important, it can be a bit frustrating for a lot of things to be coming at you, and you lose your focus. But I'm blessed to have coaches, staff, all the folks around me that fill in those gaps. And so as I was growing, I had to put those things in place because I realized I kept bumping up against walls, and there had to be something to move the needle forward. And that thing was leverage, and leveraging the gifts and talents we have already within the team. And that's allowed us to grow more between Sphere Rocket, the people that are willing to step up on our team, and those type things. When you start leveraging those things out, it seems like, oh, it's just one little change, but it can change your whole day. And that one thing that opens up a couple hours a day in your schedule can change your business. It can give you time to focus on other things and really run the business versus it running you. And when you can do that, you can give back a lot more to whatever your cause is. At the agent level, your clients; at my level, other agents, coaching, growth, those type things. So it's just having, being unlocking your mind enough to be able to focus on the things that you really need to focus on to get with it.
So would you say, for somebody watching this that was thinking about growing a team or just started a team, what would you say are three things that they need to not do or make sure that they do to get to where you're going and where you've been?
Know your numbers, protect your culture at all costs, um, and hire when you hire. Don't rely on just your opinion. Have a core group inside your team that votes. Like whenever anybody that joins our team, we have 5 people that vote to bring them on, and all 5 people have to
Really?
talk to them, and they're all different in personalities, and that's that protecting that culture thing. And what I found is the more your teammates are involved, the more that they realize that they have a sense of ownership within that team. And it's something that you trust their opinion, you trust what you want, you trust what they want. And
Yeah.
so it's not just a one man show. We're all in it together. So those are the 3 things that I would really really focus on: is make them feel a part, protect your culture, and as a team leader, know your numbers. Because if you run out of money, then you're in trouble.
You got a problem. Okay, so I love what you just said about they all talk to him. So walk me through that. So does someone meet with them first, or do you all do it together? How does that look?
So I'll meet with them first, and then I say five. Sometimes it's three. Sometimes it's five. It just depends on who's available. We do it all in one day, and so generally, if somebody wants to join a team, the first thing I'll do is say, "Come to a team meeting. Make sure we're a fit for you. Make sure you dig us because our team meetings are unique, and we're not. We're well, everybody's are. So once they do that after the team meeting, I'll talk to them, get a feel for what they thought, get a feel for how they received us because we're pretty raw and open during team meetings.
Oh yeah.
And then if I feel it's time, if I feel it's time to talk further, then we'll bring our coaches and leaders in, and they'll talk to them one or two at a time, and then after that, we'll make a decision at that point. And I would say, 8 out of 10 we bring them on, but there are some that don't, and we also have a 30-day where after 30 days the entire team votes if they stay or not.
Really?
Yes, they do.
I love
Uh,
that.
and we've had one get voted off, and of course, I got to be the guy that says, "Hey, you got voted off the island. That's never fun." But
So when you do a vote like that, does it have to be unanimous?
yes, if there's some,
Woo!
you generally get you generally we're a pretty tight knit group, so you generally know which way the door's going to swing before you ask. So
Yeah. I love that though. I think that's cool as crap because again, think about where you started. Like you have that core group, like you said, they're still with you now. I mean, they should matter. What they think should matter for sure. 1000%. Why would it not?
absolutely.
Without them, you wouldn't be where you are.
And we're blessed with, a lot of teams have a decent amount of turnover, and we just don't. I mean, I've had my original buyer's agent is still with me. She's been with me 11 years.
Oh my
Um,
gosh.
yeah.
That's
Um,
awesome.
yeah, Scarlett, our admin, one of our admin who's now an agent, a successful agent selling houses, but she started as our admin. She's been with us 7 years. I mean,
Wow.
everybody that, I mean, we have people that come and go, but we just don't have a big revolving door. And I test that to everybody, not feeling, but knowing that they have a say in their part.
So, with your team for 2022, I know we have this crazy market right now. Everyone has no inventory, which I think is critical. And I think people aren't focused enough on that. I think enough of us that are out there influencing people, we got to talk to these sellers and be like, now is the best time in the world to sell. Like, why are you holding on to this? If you're thinking about selling in the next 12 months, we need to be doing it now. When you look at your market there in Alabama, what is something that you're doing to kind of guide your team in the right direction? And what are your goals for 2022?
We've had to shift. We've had to shift to not only be an agent but a cash offer consultant, because what I'm seeing is I would say 2 out of 3 listings are receiving cash offers from big firms and things like that are buying up real estate. But it's still, from the consumer end, it's hard to navigate and understand because they're all advertising less commission, less this, more that, and most of the time the bottom lines don't match up with what they're saying. That's just fact.
Yep.
So we're having to approach our business as consultants because they've already got stuff that's coming at them. They've already received that "we'll give you this much for your house" flyer in the mail or that phone call or whatnot. And so we basically making it a package to where we consult you with every end of it, whether if it's best for you to list and get 20 offers and you're willing to endure that, cool. If it's a probate situation, or maybe they're older and they've got concerns with the current conditions with COVID and that type of stuff, well, maybe let's go out and get you the best cash offer where you don't
Yeah.
have to let people in. So just really being a chameleon to the market and being more of a consultant, and not just driving, let me get your listing, but consulting them with everything that they're feeling, that they're you know receiving from the consumer end, and understanding that has really helped us. So it's just changing the role from a listing agent, so to speak, or a real estate agent to a consultant in real estate. And you said something earlier that was really polarizing to me, and what it was that the haves and the have-nots, and the have-nots are growing in leaps and bounds, and the haves are too, and there's no middle. Well, I think that middle are still the people that are trying to run the $5 a week Facebook ad and tell somebody that they sold a house last week. Well, that just doesn't get it in this market, because that's your job, is to sell houses. And it's so competitive, and people have so much information, and they don't even know what's real information and what's not. Playing a consultant role has been a really good approach to us having success and building relationships and trust in what we consider the right way. So
I love that answer, and I believe that 1000%. I believe I take our role very responsibly. I mean, we're dealing with some of the biggest assets people will have in their entire life, selling or buying or investing, whatever. And so I think if we aren't taking it that role, like you just talked about, shame on us. We're doing a disservice to the client, and we should be out of business. And so I love that you have that mindset because I do too. We should be their partner for life. It should be their real estate partner for life. Like you have a doctor, you have insurance and attorneys. Why would you not be their real estate partner for life? And so I believe when you do that kind of service that you're doing right now, where it's all about them and what their needs are, shoot, it's game over for anybody that's your competition. I love it.
It is, and you see it so much. I mean, you can go look at somebody's feed, and I'm not knocking on agents. Sometimes you just
Oh,
have you learn, but most of them are putting out, "Hey, look at me," and that doesn't win. It's what value can you add? How can you put yourself in the place to overcome a challenge that they're having? Telling them what house you sold last week doesn't really do that.
yeah.
So I think you got to be the front. You got to lead with information. Lead, not come from scarcity, but come from abundance and
Yep.
give it. And if it comes back to you, great. And if it doesn't, that's okay too. It's not why you do it in the first place. You do it to bless others. And I think when you market yourself in that light and people truly believe you just want to give them everything you got and the rest of it's going to sort itself out, that's a cool place to be. And a lot of people are just scared to do that. They're afraid somebody's going to take something from them and they're not.
They're
The
not.
ones that you need, your tribe will show up.
They
So,
will. What's your goals look like for 2022 for your team?
we're hitting 100 million. We're going to be the first one in Alabama to do that. It's on.
I love it. Oh, hell yes, you're doing it then. Declaring it. Boom. You have to. You are, period. You
Yes,
are.
ma'am.
Do you
That's
have
right.
a number for team wise that you want to get to this year? What's your thoughts?
You talking about the number of transactions?
No, people that you
Oh,
want to join you.
we don't. Oh, sorry. There's a contractor at my house. we we don't we don't shoot for a number. It's literally attraction and culture. Hey, let me 2 seconds. Hey, stop!
That was easy. That's too funny. That was easy.
Sorry.
No worries.
So anyway, we don't put a number on it. We put a quality stamp on it. And if 20 quality people show up that fit our culture, they're in. If 2 show up, they're in too. So we're big on attracting and what we put out and letting that speak for itself and bring them to us. And there's probably needs to be some more effort to that. But for us, we're in a place where it's been a blessing, and everybody that's shown up that we've attracted have been just spot on. And the ones that I've went out to get, not so much.
No, I
So
know. No, isn't it crazy how that works?
yeah, so we focus more on the quality piece of it as much as we can. So
And then if you're looking for you guys that are paying attention to this, are you looking to expand into other areas outside of Alabama?
absolutely. So we've started building the back end and just some systems and some things. We built what's called Southern Realty University to start supporting the
Oh,
agents that
I
are
like
not in
that.
the yeah. So we've started really doing some things that allow us to expand outside of our borders and reach more people. And I never want to do it, and I don't want to bring them on and then go, oh goodness, I got to get this. I try to get this, and then when I bring them on, it's a plug in type deal.
Yeah.
So we are definitely looking, and my wife and I have actually talked to a few agents in Florida and looking to get into a different state and do some of those things. So we're working on that.
Heck yeah. I
Yep.
have so enjoyed talking to you today, Jean. Hey, for people that want to learn more about you, learn more about Alabama real estate and how to get into your university, anything like that, where can they find you?
GeneDarden.com. You'll find everything about me on GeneDarden.com. GeneDarden.com.
You guys, I hope y'all have enjoyed this today. He's in Alabama, but like he just said, he's expanding. He's looking to expand. I think there's probably nowhere that he wouldn't go. I think he's got, like, I believe us Southerners, I'm born and raised here in Texas, so I believe us Southerners got a lot more charm than some other places in the world. So I may be a little bit biased, but I think I'm super happy that you're part of my life and that we're all doing this same organization together. I believe 1000% that we have the best real estate solutions for everybody out there. And I'm grateful that you got on here with me today.
Heck yeah, I'm grateful for you. Thanks for being a blessing. I knew you'd be from day one, and here we are.
Love it. You guys have an awesome day. Make sure if you have any questions, reach out to us. Remember, we are better together. If you want to look for future events that we have rolling out, we're probably going to end up in Alabama one of these days with Jean too. You can go to bettertogetherlive.com. That's where our events are registered, and make sure you hook up with Jean because he's definitely a good guy to hook up with. Yeah, you guys have a great day. Bye, y'all.
Bye.